Some directors are known for their use of pop music. Gimme Shelter seems like Martin Scorsese's theme song, but an iconic track doesn't always come cheap. I'm curious, what's the most you've ever paid for the use of a single song?
I think I had $500,000 on a song in Varsity Blues, if I remember correctly.
What song was that?
It was an AC/DC song.
That
Thunderstruck.
sounds about right. AC/DC.
And I remember being absolutely horrified when I heard that number. And we spent a lot of time coming up with what we thought were great alts, but there was going to be no budging on that. And they had money, so they paid for it.
I mean, it's a testimony actually to how well supervisors work, that they're able to do so much on a small budget. We'd like to think that the value of music is being respected and, and understood. So I think because of the success of doing things inexpensively, unfortunately, kind of creates like, oh, you don't have to put that much money in the music budget. Look what they did here. It's great. There. So it's kind of a double catch.
The trick is to never show it. I mean, I think that like when you're dealing with a period piece, one of the dangerous aspects is that if you're dealing with period music, a lot of times that you're forced into high numbers simply because you're talking about period music that has to be recognizable.
Classic.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. So you know that you're in a situation when you have to put library in because you have no money. It's almost like you want to be on the mixing stage and make sure like bring it lower, bring it lower, bring it lower.
That's such a good point.
And it's one of those things where having no budget can hurt your film because it's going to take away the credibility. Because again, we're doing dream navigation. And if you're watching a sequence where someone is simply going to a car mechanic in 1972 and you have this song that doesn't really feel like it's of the time period, and don't really recognize it, you're trying to figure out what it is, and it kind of sounds like Crosby, Stills and Nash, you're out of the film. So there's a certain point, I think, when it's a real mistake for people to not budget these things properly. And if we're going to have a film that's going to be music intensive, let's plan ahead. Why don't you hire the supervisor early so we can talk about how we can do this, so we can research, get real numbers, so when we put it in front of you, it's not an impossible task. It's a way of saying, here's one way we can do it, here's another way, here's another way.
Yeah.
Anton, I think your work on The Great Gatsby is maybe a good example of how far this craft has evolved. You know, in that movie, it's interesting, the Young and Beautiful track by Lana Del Rey becomes the kind of de facto theme song for the movie.
That song had a very long developmental journey for us.
Okay.
You know, it came as a submission for the film, and then Baz worked with Lana on adapting the lyrics and then adapting the use, and then we started cutting it to picture, and for many of its uses, Lana went back into the studio and Baz was on Skype with her saying, watch the scene, and you know, she was emoting, you know, her performance is coming directly as a reflection of what she's seeing on the screen, and that's another one of those, you know, big creative journeys with a songwriter and an artist, you know, performer, where it was a back and forth collaboration. You know, it didn't just sort of come out of nowhere. It wasn't like we clicked on our inbox and went, you know, here we've got it. It was a journey.